Coach, who is going to be available for Arizona State tomorrow? Will Jager and Richie be back?
Yeah, barring anything that unforeseen, yeah, those guys should be available.
Last thing for me, Coach. What do you think your team improved on during this break, and do you think the extended period of rest was beneficial for your group?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had guys banged up, so it was good for those guys to get additional rest. As far as stuff we improved on during the break, I just think mental clarity, come back in with a sense of urgency for this push here in conference play, and I think just more from a mental side is probably where we gained a bit of an edge.
All right, we'll go with Darnell, then Sean.
Yeah, how are you finding coaching college-age players as opposed to professional players? What sort of, I don't know if adjustment's the right word, but how do you find that basketball is maybe just so unifying, doesn't really matter, or do you see differences?
I think more it is just basketball still. I think just probably the pace in which I teach things is a little bit slower here, and I don't know if that's a byproduct of age or that's a byproduct of just having more time on the practice floor. So I don't know if it's unique to college age players versus professional age players, but I think the thing I've enjoyed more than anything is just, and I had a lot of very coachable guys in the NBA, so I was lucky from that standpoint. But the group we've assembled here is extremely coachable. We were able to really lock in on certain things, and they dig their teeth into it. So that part I've really enjoyed.
And then one other question about the numbers that you guys kind of crunch as coaches. What numbers mean the most to you when you start evaluating your team?
And I don't.
Aside from wins, I guess.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's where I was going to go straight away. I mean, I think, and I'm a huge numbers guy, but I think winning obviously can't get blinded by all the analytic reports and so forth. I mean, defensive rebounding percentage is a big one for us. Offensive rebounding percentage is a big one for us. Free throw attempts and free throws given up is a big one. Assist percentage is a big one in terms of our assist percentage. Those are the ones that my eye is immediately drawn to. I think those allow us to play to our identity. Those are the ones we probably talk about the most internally and with our players as well.
All right, Sean, Mitch, then Jay.
Coach, this is I got two things. One that's super micro, and then another it's a little bit big picture, I guess, as you kind of turn the page into Big 12 play. But first of all, you said last week when we talked to you after the game that Kadeem is signed and sealed and on campus, and you were going to kind of get him into practice and whatnot. What have you sort of made of him as he sort of makes his way into the program, and anything kind of stand out to you that was maybe different when you were trying to bring him in and recruiting him and all that stuff?
What stood out is just his size and athleticism and how fluid he is. He's for as big as he is. He's an extremely fluid athlete. He can really move. His shot is more, I think, fluid and more compact than I thought it would be coming in. And I think he's made strides even in a couple of days of just working with our coaches. So. I think he's got a lot more upside as a shooter than I kind of hoped he did, but just seeing him now up close in person, I'm even more hopeful that he can turn himself into a really good three-point shooter. But I think everyone's quickly, you're just sitting there looking at him and watching him play, and you're just like, I think excitement is a good word for him.
And then kind of zooming out from there a little bit, when you were kind of ramping up to the season and getting ready for the job, and maybe even a little bit of non-conference play, what did people tell you about playing in the Big 12, whether it was like other coaches from around the conference, outside the conference, in college? You've got a couple of members of your staff that played in and against Big 12 teams as well. Like, what did people kind of tell you about playing in this conference?
Well, if I tried to reach out to some people that I felt like had a good grasp on it, I spent a decent amount of time with Fran Fraschilla. He's kind of the guru of the Big 12. So he kind of gave me a pretty good, I think, roadmap of the Big 12. Physicality. aggressive defense, older players. Those have been the commonalities. So being able to have to navigate, the aggressive, tough-minded teams, I think is probably what stood out more than anything as I talk to different people.
Jay,
Did you say me and Mitch?
yeah, you then Mitch.
Kevin, what are the challenges of playing basically a midweek game in the afternoon? Students aren't on campus yet. It would seem to me that you'd maybe want to open on the road because of those factors, or are you guys looking forward to this game tomorrow?
We're looking. Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I mean, we're looking forward to it. I don't put a lot of stock in home and road. I know the records and history would say otherwise, but I think it's just a mentality. I think whether there's one fan, no fans, 1,000 fans, 10,000 fans, 17,000 fans, home, road, whatever, you got to go out there and execute. And so I like the fact that we've had day games, night games, early games, midday games, home games, road games, whatever the case may be. I think it's really good preparation. It just so happened that our home, our Big 12 opener is, falls, midday on a non-school day. But I have a sneaky suspicion that the crowd will still be pretty good.
Kevin, how much of Jager and Richie practiced during this time since they've been away? Have they been a full participant in practice ramping up for this game?
Number one, I appreciate the Alamo Bowl hat. That's a good look. Number two is, they've been able to practice quite a bit. They look good. Still monitoring those guys to make sure everything checks out. But, I wish we could have played even more, honestly, just to get those guys more run. But I know they're both eager and, ready to get back out there with their teammates.
You noted that the Big 12, one of the characteristics is, older teams is what the intel you kind of got. But this Arizona State team's got a pair of freshmen and Quains and Son that seem to be leading them. Your impressions of this Arizona State team and those young guys in particular?
Yeah, those young guys are really talented. Pretty familiar with both of them. Joe Son can really score the ball. He's a guy that's been extremely efficient, one of the most efficient shooters in college basketball to start the season. He can go off for 30 on any given night, so we'll have to pay a lot of attention to him. And then, Acquaintance is, kid's gifted, super long, super athletic. He kind of reminds me of Draymond Green defensively, where he just kind of is a one-man wrecking crew out there. Super young. I think he's like the younger than everyone by like 6 months in college basketball or something like that. So just obviously the sky's the limit for his future, but in the current iteration of him is pretty darn good too. So he's a guy we just gotta. And he's interesting because he's not a guy where they're like Joe Son. They're clearly running stuff for him to get going. With Acquaintance, he just makes it happen. He just gets it out of the mud and just. It's hard to prepare for guys like that because you can't really scheme for that. You just got to play harder than he does.
All right, guys, we'll finish with Ron, Matt, and then Jerem.
Yeah, Coach, you've had a lot of guys step up in the process with guys going down. Do you plan to still have a bigger rotation, or is that going to be limited now going to the conference play?
That'll be streamlined a little bit. I still think we have some internal competitions that are going on for some of the, probably 9 and 10 areas. Some guys have stepped up when they've gotten opportunity. So there'll still be some competition going on, but we do feel like we've, our top 8 guys have sort of emerged.
I'm trying to think of how to word this, Coach, to piggyback off Mitch's Alamo hat, but a lot of, including football and hoops, a lot of these athletic programs at BYU have had a lot of success in the last year. Has it, I don't know if surprised the right word, but compared to your expectations, how have you enjoyed or kind of viewed the passion and just the national and general interest in BYU athletics right now?
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I think, Kalani's done an amazing job with the football team. A super impressive bowl win there. Someone sent me something where AJ DeBanza, on his Instagram had the BYU football win as one of his posts. And so, just the excitement around, not just what they're doing or not just what we're doing. And then you can go into cross country and track and field and you just kind of keep going down the list. I mean, there's a lot of cool things happening, at this university. And it's a credit to, Tom and Brian and President Reese and Keith and everyone, the leadership team here that, has put together a really outstanding athletic department to go along with the really outstanding university. So I'm just happy to be a part of it. It's exciting. I'm hoping that we can kind of carry the torch now that football is over and we can kind of keep this momentum going.
All right, Jeremy, you have the final question.
Kevin, did you watch Bobby Hurley play as a kid? Did you ever look up to him as a kind of a guard? And then kind of what's the relationship with Bobby now?
No, I never looked up to him. I actually was never a big Duke guy. So don't know Bobby at all. I've met him at the Big 12 Media Day. Got great respect for any coach, who, especially someone who's lasted as long as he has at Arizona State. Clearly knows what he's doing, gets his guys to play really hard. So just a lot of respect for the start that they've had. They've beaten some really quality opponents. And they feed off of his energy, I'm sure. And so just looking forward for us to compete against a high-level opponent.
If Duke wasn't the team of choice that you liked watching, who was?
BYU, man.
Nice. And then the importance. What's the importance of kind of starting conference play on a winning note here?
I just think we're ready. I think our guys are ready to go out and compete. Against some of these high-level teams. Obviously, we want to start off with the win, but we want to come out and play well. We want to come out and play to our identity and play to all the things that we work on a daily basis, which I think that's probably where we've grown the most in the last month is, we have a better understanding of who we are on both ends of the floor. And I told the guys yesterday when we're kind of to the point now where guys don't play to our team identity, it really stands out in a bad way. And so I think we've got guys kind of rowing in the same direction, and that's when teams get dangerous.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate
We'll
it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.